Hi, YouTube. This is Liberal Rod, and it's been a long, long time. And just, there's been a lot of changes for me personally in my life. I am now living here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Um, moved from Tacoma, Washington back in September. So there's been a lot of changes. And plus, I didn't really have the best. Um, technology to do YouTube videos. But a lot of changes have happened personally in my life, and a lot of changes, you know, definitely, going on in this country politically. Obviously, we know that Donald Trump won the election in a shocking manner over Hillary Clinton. The polls lied. They made it seem as if Clinton had the election in the bag, but no. She lost the Democratic firewall, which was the Rust Belt, and I think the most shocking state that Trump won was Pennsylvania. So, and now yesterday, Donald Trump was, um, you know, um, sworn in as the 45th president of the United States. Now, I mean, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna have a lot of material over Donald Trump and his administration, his pathetic appointees. There's going to be a lot of material. It's going to be an interesting 4 years. But today let's talk about um, you know, his inaugural speech. And, it all, starts out with, we, the citizens of America, are now joined in a great national effort to rebuild our country and restore its promise for all of our people. Now, I mean, it's just, all this is all political feel good talk. Obviously, we heard this in Obama's last two inauguration speeches, and just from pretty much most presidents. There's all this feel good talk. But the interesting thing is, he talks about our people, which makes you think, really, is he talking about a specific group of people like the big corporations, or, the big players that helped, get him elected? Is that what he's talking about? Because it sure doesn't sound like he's talking about, everyday Americans like you and I. So that's pretty interesting right there when he talks about our people. A lot of people have they really um, um, they really spotted this out, and it's really interesting and kind of creepy that he just says our people. Um, but anyways, to move on, another you know um, quote from Donald Trump in his speech, which was very short, only a 16-minute speech, and it sounded very elementary. I think a 5-year-old could have done a better job. But anyways, another one was every 4 years we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peacefully transfer of power. I don't call ever since Donald Trump was elected president back in November, I don't think it was a peaceful transfer. And on top of that, if you look at Donald Trump's campaign, not a very peaceful campaign, not a campaign that was. Let's not forget this is Donald Trump, and his campaign definitely was not directed towards establishing peace and working in a bipartisan manner. No, it was nothing close to that. So it's just loony to hear Donald Trump talk about a peaceful, transfer of power. Is no, it was Donald Trump doesn't give a rat's ass about fucking peace. A lot of his supporters, looked at things in a very partisan and bigoted manner, and that totally goes against peace. And that's it's just laughable to hear, Donald Trump, Donald Trump talk about peace. That's just BS. Another thing was, and we are grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama for their gracious aid throughout this transition. They have been magnificent. Thank you. This is him crediting the outgoing administration or the outgoing president and the First Lady, obviously Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. And once again, going back to like the peaceful thing, a good example is like, I don't think, yeah, we all know this is political BS. He is definitely not grateful for Obama. This is the same guy that, for the longest time during the last election cycle in 2012, kept, entertained people with the fact that Barack Obama was not born in the United States and that his birth certificate was fake. He was a birther, and that's totally a slap um, in the face to Barack Obama and very disrespectful. So it's that's just BS that he's grateful to President Obama because of all the candidates that were running in the Republican field. I think Donald Trump was you know, Donald Trump was the biggest critic towards Barack Obama. So that's very laughable when he talks about grateful to President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama, now sadly ex-president. Um, Moving on, and this is the last thing that I wrote down. This is the last thing that I really wrote down that was quoted by Donald Trump in his inaugural address. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the job left and the factories closed. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. Their victories have not been your victories. Their triumphs have not been your triumphs. And while they celebrate, and while they celebrated in our nation's capital, there was little to celebrate for struggling families all across the land. um, Ever since he was elected president, who are all of the people that um, Donald Trump is surrounding himself with when it comes to appointing people for his cabinet? He is doing the total opposite of draining the swamps, draining the swamp, and this is laughable when he talks about you know being a anti-establishment president, being a populist president. It is really laughable because his actions as president-elect definitely were not anti-establishment. When you look at these figures, I mean, a good example is Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who obviously wants to turn back the clock to the 1950s. This is the same guy who wants to use federal law, something that the you know Republicans act like they're so against. Who wants to use federal law to override state law in a lot of the states that have, most of the states who have legalized marijuana, whether it's recreational or medical. He wants to use federal law to override state law and make it illegal again. And these are the same motherfuckers that are talking about states' rights. They're the biggest hypocrites. So going back to Donald Trump and talking about, mentioning he's so anti-establishment, he's nothing close to being anti-establishment. And he talks about bringing back these factory jobs. He's going to deliver for these people in the Rust Belt region, like Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. States like that. He's going to deliver these people. I don't think so. He's not going to do any better than Obama. I think he's going to do worse than Obama. I think this is going to be his biggest downfall, is not delivering for those Rust Belt states. And I think it's going to show through his presidency. But I mean, most of this inauguration was just all feel good, political talk, false patriotism, and just, my gosh, I've never seen so many religious speeches in my life at this inauguration. It was very bland. It was only a 16-minute speech, and it's going to be an interesting 4 years. I'm going to make more videos on Donald Trump. It's going to be entertaining. But anyways, this is Liberal Rod. I'm still alive, you guys. And these are my thoughts about the inauguration, which I did not watch yesterday. I just watched a recording to do this video. But anyways, everybody keep up the fight. And Godspeed for these next 4 years. All right, goodbye.